Thank you, Allie. 2, 1. All right, folks. Thank you for joining me again today. And I just have a wonderful session that I am so excited about. So, and I've also got to make sure that I jump in. Let's see, I'm jumping over here real quick to pick up something. Uh, my session today is teaching to the choir. All right. So, of course, I'm talking to all my music teacher friends, and I am absolutely in love with choral resources. So, that's what we get to do today. Now, just because I happen to have a classroom of students here, albeit a very large classroom of students, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start with a warm up because that's what I always did whenever I was starting my lessons. I had to have warm ups. That was my thing. And one of my favorite ones is called Prepare the Breath. I got to be such a stickler with my students on breathing with your stomach and not with your shoulders. Oh my gosh, that just absolutely drives me crazy. That has become such a pet peeve. So, I was anytime I could find a way that I could work on this. And then here came Prepare the Breath. It was great. So I use a Hoberman sphere, and it's Hoberman sphere. If you don't have one of these, Amazon, I think I got Target. I actually have one that was bigger that I used in my classroom that really stretched out a lot further. This is my little travel size that I have. These are so great to talk to your kids about breathing because with my students, we would breathe in as the sphere is expanding, and then they would have to breathe out through their invisible straw whenever it's coming back in. Now, this is also great to use when you have some of your special friends that need something to do. This is great. You know, you a lot of times have that little one that if they could just be a helper at the beginning of class, that helps the class run so smoothly. And this is great for them. You know, they can be the first one to start it out. We use Prepare the Breath, and then we would do it again. Sometimes we would use it without Prepare the Breath. We would just use the Hoberman sphere. Either way, and they would pass it along to people. Now, I will warn you, I had to be careful because some of my students would love to see how slow can we close this to see if people can pass out because they've run out of air. So just be aware of that. You know, and of course, your kids will probably figure something. But with this act, they have 8 counts to inhale. Now, here's what I love about this because they can't breathe from their shoulders if they're trying to inhale for 8. So it's going to be inhale 8, hold for 4, exhale for 8. All right, here we go, everybody. Press the start button. There we go. Hold for 4. Breathe out for 8. And there you go. All right. Love that one. That one is actually one of my favorites. All right. Then we're jumping on because, again, I always do more than one. And we want to make sure we get, a lot of activities today. I want you to take home a whole lot of stuff. So I'm sure you heard me say before, one of my favorite ones is beatbox warm up. Now, I did not tell my students that I was working on consonants and diction. They just thought I was being a really cool teacher and I was letting them practice their beatboxing. Whatever works, do it. All right. So here you can simply have your students or you, if you have something you need to work on, then pull those consonants over. You can use this individually. I'll just take one here. And what's nice is you can put over what you want, but then you can also use this as an incentive for your kids. And you could have your students, let's say they came in at, oh my gosh, they were so good coming into your classroom. You know what? An incentive, because you just did a great job, let's pull up beatbox warm up. That'll work. Or you could also use it at the end of class too. Oh, wow. Ms. Moore's class. I love this group that came to me today. We got a couple of minutes. Let's do beatbox warm up so we can put this in. So you can have your students create their own, or you could also use those QR codes and shareable links, and yes, put it in an assignment. So we've got individual beats, but we could also put in 4 beats. Now I'm just going to do 2 lines. That's all I'm doing today. I've even done this where I put them into groups. So I had a group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and they had to stay on their line. Oh my gosh, that was awesome too. Okay, my students, we are going to do line 1 and line 2. Yes, we are. And you're going to do your best. We are not taking the repeats. Sometimes I love to not say that, and then I just plow through and see if my kids will remind me that I didn't take the repeats. I love it when they notice those musical symbols and they have to inform me on it. Sometimes I do forget. Um, we are going to use tempo 1. All right. I'm going to count you in, but remember, it may be off, and um, you're not going to hear me because I don't want it to be if it's not hitting on the same time. So here we go. I will try to count you in and we'll see how this goes. All right. Be strong. No wimpy consonants. Be strong. 1, 2, here we go. All right. I don't know about you, but my students, whenever we do this, they'll pop up into their high voice, into their head voice, and they're going, wiki, wiki, which is great. So if I've got a song coming up later on that it has a big interval jump, I love to pull this up because I always have some friends that will tell me, oh, no, 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 that's too high. I can't do it. Oh, but you all just did it for beatbox warm up. So don't forget that. This is a great one to use. Okay, folks, now I've got to go through all my objectives and everything. We've done our warm up. Let's get into this session right now, even though I've chattered along the way like a chipmunk. My session objectives today, we're going to explore resources in the Choral Toolbox. Love this area. It's a good thing I'm towards the end of the day because I would have probably extended this session over about 2 or 3 hours because this is another one of my favorites. Number 2 is we're going to discover how the resources can enhance and strengthen musical knowledge. With also learning the song, but there's a lot of other things along the way that you can add to increase their knowledge. And we're going to be demonstrating resources that can be used for all grade levels. Preparing the breath, I have used that starting with my kindergartners. Yes, I have. All the way up to, I taught kindergarten through 5th grade. So all the way up to my 5th graders. Can you use this even going on into junior high, middle school? Yes, you can. You can easily use these resources any way that you see fit. What works best for you and your students. All right, so let's keep on moving. We're going to take a look at exploring the resources in the Choral Toolbox. Now, I'm going to jump over to my dashboard, and I like to break up the dashboard into 3 parts. The part that I'm going to be working on today is the supplemental resources, and I like to call them the spice rack. So that way, the spices are all those little extra things that you can add into your lessons and however you want to use them. So that's why I love this section so much. We're going to click right in the middle on Quaver Choral Resources. When this opens up, there at the bottom is the Choral Toolbox. Now, by the way, you do know that you can also get a lot of vocal warm-ups and all in Teacher Toolbox. Yes, I'm mentioning Teacher Toolbox again because if you need to pull up some of your favorites, you'll also see them in there too. All right, but we are in Choral Toolbox this time. We have got icebreakers. Now, jumping into the icebreakers, these are great to use, even before you do your warm-ups. These are these little extra things that you can add. Um, Again, I love doing prepare the breath, prepare the body is another good one, especially if you have students that you know for a fact have been sitting for a while. And, I knew my fourth graders had been sitting for a while before they came to me. So I always made sure that, they could do this. All right. Now, another one that you can tell you what, let's just jump into one that I love to do. 3-4 meter. Here it is, right here. This is a great one if you are about to prep 3-4, or you need to continue putting that in their brain. You've already worked on 3-4, but you want to keep it going. So this one is a fun one to do. They're spinners. I love spinners. All right. So you have your strong beat and you have your weak beats. Oh, sorry, guys. I got to wave my hands for a minute because the lights in my office just turned out on me and they're not coming on. So I get to stand up. Oh, there we go. I know the Quaver people down the hall are probably laughing at me right now because the lights turned off on me. All right. Track 1, track 2, and track 3. You know what? I was so excited doing beatbox warm up. I forgot to do the second one with you real fast. Tempo 2 is much faster in beatbox warm up. Now, the same thing is true with 3-4 meter. It's going to they're a little bit faster. So, as soon as you've got track 1 down, try track 2, track 3. All right, we'll take a little listen to each one of those. And oh, good. I'm glad you all could see me because it was kind of dark in my office here for a little bit. All right. So we've got clap, tap, tap. That's what you're going to be doing. I am going to be changing it out on you. And my students always tried to see if they could start it right back on the beat when it switched to another movement. So it was always kind of fun to see them trying to stay with each other. I had one class that it was just like, that's what they had to do. And they would all watch each other to switch to the next movement. Okay, friends, here we go. Keep going. Keep it going. There you go. You got the idea of it. All right, now let's jump a little bit into track 2. Nodding is hard to do. Let me switch here. Oh, okay, this is a perfect example. I'm going into track 2, but you notice how all of them have the same thing. This is good because you get to talk to your students about that strong beat has to have that extra oomph. So it's going to be pat, 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 Great discussion because it is going to happen. All right, here we go with track 2. All right, see how that works? I love it. And let's do another one. Trying to, let's do something different here. All right, come on, guys. I am just hitting all the same ones. Look at this. It is just like stuck on me doing the same thing. So clap, tap, we'll just do that. I'm going for it. Track 3. There you go. Now, when you get track 3, because it's going so fast, I usually get the, oh, my arms are hurting. This is great to use because then I can come over to this green arrow on the right and we can talk about conducting. Now, I can do it with the others too. I just love using it with the third one. We can draw out what that would be. When you're talking about that one, the track 3 that's so fast, you can talk about conducting in 1, and that makes it a little bit easier. You could draw that out. It's great to use with your kids. Um, I love to conduct with those cleaners, that rod that you get with your recorders. They make great conducting wands. And so we would be conducting with our conducting wands with those two. So any little thing I can use makes it good to know. All right, let's keep on moving. I've got so much in here I'd love to do, but I gotta go. I gotta go on. My other one I want to show you is shaker icebreaker. Now, this is going to deal with dynamics, and your body is going to imitate the dynamics. Your body. Okay. So the kids would have to be crescendoing and decrescendoing with their bodies and are going from, of course, it has to P. So that means very, we're starting off really soft. And then it's just too much fun, folks. If you want them to try to sing it, you could, but it's just great to use with the body. Now, when it starts out on Largo, I mean, this is slow. I love that one. Okay, now let me jump on and let's go to the next one. Whoops, I just lost my mouse. Now, check this out. Oh, sorry about that, Kevin. I'm used to saying 3/4. That's what I said. But you can definitely, tell your kids there are other ways that you can call it, and triple meter is just fine. And there go my lights again. Since you can see me, I'm just going with the flow. All right, but if you put it over in presto, of course, they're going to have to do the same thing, but it's faster. Oh, there it is. I forgot to press the play button. Let me do that real quick. And here we go. Look how fast it's going to go. And they would have to use their bodies. So this one is too much fun. You've got to try it out with your students. Oh, you were just going to have a great time with this. Okay, jumping out of this one. This is the icebreakers. Singing positions, perfect positions. There's the dance that we use for Rocky Mountain. Oh, I love that one. Fire the Engines is a great one to use. So, all right, we got to jump on, and my view is blocked. Let me get over here. There we go. Okay. We are still in, I'm jumping out of that, and I'm going over to warm-ups because we are still in Choral Toolbox. This is my favorite place right here. Oh, there is so much inside of it. Oh, my heavens. Breath anatomy. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. I tell my students that your parents won't let me cut you open so we could look inside and see how the lungs and the diaphragm work. And so I have to use this instead. But what I love is that her tummy, look at this. Her tummy also moves, not her shoulders. Her tummy also moves. So the diaphragm goes up and down, helps with press out the air, lowers. Great to do. There's a little practice breathing that you can click on where it says in for 4, out for 8. You can do that.
In 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So there you go. Okay. Love this one. Absolutely love it. Let's see. Got to make sure I have several written down that I want to hit. Bridging the breath. Now, I am a band person. And I also have my choirs and everything too. But I noticed that I had a really bad habit of not extending out to the end. And I wanted to make sure that my students were ready to go into, oh my gosh, amazing choir directors. I have been very lucky to have amazing choir directors that my kids have gone into for junior high choir. So I wanted to make sure that they experienced holding those notes out to the full value. Bridging the breath is what helped me do this. So in this one, the raft is going to move, and you have vowels. Now, here's the deal. The ooh up above is not going to change with this, because you're going to notice. Let me play it for just a minute so you see what I'm talking about. All right, see how that's changing? And I know a bunch of you are saying, the notes doesn't move. I don't like it. Well, I'm going to show you a little example in just a minute, but you can't do it in Choral Resources, but I'll show you. You could pull it up in Resource Manager. Notice right now it's missing the menu. Yes, keep that in mind. When you pull it up from Resource Manager, or you pull it up from the song that this is actually originally from, you'll have the menu. So when we get to something that has it similar, I'll show you how you can get rid of this, because what I'm talking about, I'll just go ahead and tell you, and then I'll show you with the other one. You can pull up that hide screen that we have in menu in tools, and you can simply cover that little part right there. So if you don't want them to see that the note stays on G, the visual, then you can just use the hide screen with that. Now, I let my kids put a movement with this, because some of mine needed something to do. So my kids will use slow motions, whatever it is, as long as they're going to the music and they're not touching each other. So here we go. Come up with a movement while you are singing. Be so fun if we could see each other. I love this one. All right. And I see a bunch of you are loving this one too. Just one of our favorites that we've got. All right. Jumping into my last one I'm going to show for now is building diphthongs. Now, with this one, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you can pull over what you need for your diphthongs. Okay. So if it's an ah going into an oo, you've got that. Okay. Now, again, down here next to ah on the bottom left, you've got the music right here. So you could practice with this, but this one you can actually X out of it so you don't see it. Now, what I love the most is that if you click on the vowels, you get the mouth, the embouchure placement. Isn't that great? And then the oo. And if you want to add a triphthong, you could even add that, and you're good to go. All right. So your students could be looking at that and remembering what it is, or you can just simply click back to remind them. And then if you see some students that their mouths are not in the right position, you could remind them. However you want to do this, it's here for you. I love the music with it. Now remember, that's the way to do the example. So what I recommend, if you are using this and you have your own up there, then just simply go to Mixer, turn off the vocals. There you go. And then you're good to go. And you got it. Okay. Yes, they do lose it. So that's why a lot of times I'll be there close by, Allie, so that I can just click it back in and I can just remind. So that's what I like about that I can click it back. Okay. Gloria, I'd love to tell you that I knew that this was there. I accidentally one day in class hit it and went, Oh my gosh, this is great. So there you go. All right, folks. Again, I could stay in here forever because there is so much I'd love to go through, but I got to keep on going because we do have more. All right. So going back to Choral Toolbox, we do have in here sight reading. Now, these are the little snippets that are from these songs. But again, you can use these however you want. If you are teaching that song, then this will be part of the lesson for the song. But if you're saying, I just want to practice, or I want them to see if they can figure out the solfege, whatever it is, these are here for you. So let's say I'm going to open up the 2/4 meter in D. It's here and you've got it. All right. Now, just like the recorder Olympics, this one has bronze, silver, gold. You have your 3 different tempos down below, and you also have your tonic, which is nice because my piano, the way my room was, my piano was one side and I had to kind of run back and forth. So I love that I could hit the tonic and then we could go. So this is here if you need it. Again, they are part of the songs, but we always can come up with all these different ways that we can use things. So that's why I love clicking these in. It's awesome to use. All right, jumping out of sight reading, going over to planned resources. If you're a brand new teacher, yes, we do have some help here getting started with a choir. You can click on this. We've got a planning thing for you, selecting repertoire, things that to think about when you're picking your music. So these are great resources if you need those, or maybe you are like me, a band person going, okay, I really want to learn more. I want to do the best I can for my students with their singing voices and my choir. These are here to help you out. All right. Jumping back over, going into, I'm going to kind of skip assessments for just a second. I'm going to go over to additional resources. And here are these little extra things. Notice we have beat, rhythm, and melody, bell challenges here, exploring the modes, the orb library, if you needed it, pitch pipe is here, solfege guide, and the crescendonator, what I call it. So you've got those for additional resources if you want to pull them up. All right, the last one, because I skipped it, is assessments. All right. We have the performance evaluation, which you'll see in a lesson in just a little bit. But I also want to make you aware that we do have these printables. So we have kind of a director post conference and a student post conference. So if you want to say, here's how I think you all did, and also have the students say, here's how I think we did. Sometimes that's not in the student's realm of thinking. So this is a great one to pull up. We even have test for knowledge, things that we've talked about along the way when we're working on songs and getting things ready. Evaluate, create, and then that self-evaluation. So these are printables right here that you can print out. All right, jumping out of that, we're going to switch from the choral toolbox into the choral resources. So look up above, and there are the songs that we have. All right, I'm going to click on the next one because we have 2 more over here. I love these 2. Okay, Niño Precioso is a beautiful lullaby. I have used it numerous times with my students, and it was very well received with parents. So, but today I'm going to start with a baby. This one is a great one. Oh, by the way, let me let you know, Jumbo Bawana is a streaming. We have streaming rights to, which means you will not be able to download it in class play. So keep that in mind with Jumbo Bawana. But I'm going to click on a baby. And guess what? Notice how this looks like a lesson. Yes. So to teach that song, we have all of this in here. In fact, this is how it originally came out. And the nice thing about it was, oh my gosh, this is a great warm up. I could use this with all these other. And teachers started saying, oh, but I could use this with other grade levels. And I could use, and I could. And so that's why they got pulled out into the choral toolbox, because mainly they were hearing from you about, oh, I could use this in other ways and this could be used. So it is in a lesson format. If you are one of those lucky people, and middle school, this especially would apply to you, that this is your lesson for in class, you've got it all right here for you. So you're good to go on this. Notice down below, we have the overview, the objectives, and the lesson plan. Okay. So it's all there. And we have the worksheets. Yes, we've got it. Okay. We can customize. Yes, because again, you need to be able to make it fit for what works for best for you and your students, and of course, launching it. Now, one other thing you've probably heard me talk about before, that if looking at all of the screens is an awful lot for you, then just go up to the top right next to the help button, click on that bullet list, just exactly the same thing you can do with the curriculum lessons, and you get a list. So if this view is better for you, use it. All right. If you're saying, no, I like to see the screens, go that way and you're good to go. All right. I'm going to click on launch and we're going to go through these screens very quickly. Here is the opening screen. Notice though in Choral Resources, we don't have a grade level because it's not tied in with the curriculum lessons. So we do have that welcome screen and it is going to play. So if you want the students to hear the song as they're coming in, I love that song. We're going to listen to a little bit more later on. I get carried away, so I've got to watch the time. We got to keep on going. Going into the second one, icebreaker. Prepare the body. There you go. All right. This one, again, you can just pull up whatever you want, or you can have your students pull it up and you can select how fast you want it to go. Usually for me, I kept it about at 80. That was my norm. Sometimes I love to put on 40 and kind of drive the kids. This is so slow. It's okay. All right. They need to experience different tempos. And then you click begin and you're fine on that. I love using this one. Going into the next one. Oh, look, it's beatbox warm up. All right. It's here for you. And you know what? I'm going to play tempo 2 while we're here so you can see how fast this goes. So give it a try with your kids. You'll love it. Jumping into the next one. This one is another great warm up. Fly through the line, where now again. This is going to work with parts of the song, so this is very specific. And I wanted to show you because this is one too, where if you notice the arrow after the line is going up, so it's going to be ascending. And you may be saying, but I don't want my kids to see this because the music is not going to switch to it. Then come down to menu. I've got the menu button here. Go into tools, click on hide, and then drag it up to whatever I want it to do. And go right there. Maybe I want them to still see that ascending arrow, and then I can just adjust it. And I'm good to go. So see how you can make that work for yourself. And then while this is playing throughout, you can hit spin. So I'm going to close it though for the first one so you get an idea of what it sounds like. See how that works? Now, once you get an idea of how this goes, your kids know what to do, go to Mixer, turn off the vocals, hide the example right there if you need to. If it doesn't bother you or your students, then don't worry about it. And then you're going to hit the spin button. So here's what it would be like with the music. And then whoop, I forgot to hit it there. Sorry, folks. I'm not singing for you today because I sound like such a bullfrog right now. Oof, I don't want to scare you all too much. Now, this is wonderful to use, and it helped my students so much, especially that big interval jump when we were learning this song. And this was a great time for me to talk about that grace note. So, sometimes our admin don't realize what all we discuss when we're learning a song. It's not just only sing after me. We're discussing a grace note in here. We're talking about that big interval jump. We're talking about the rhythm, everything that goes on, mouth placement, the whole bit. So this one is a wonderful one to use. And if you're thinking at first going, looking at this, I'm not sure what to do. I don't know how she knew how to do that. Always go to menu, click on notes, and that is going to be here for you. So don't forget, we always have that in here. But when you're open up in the toolbox like we were, the toolbox is kind of like class play because it didn't have the menu. But again, resource manager will have the menu, and when you're in the lessons, you can see it too. So now, do we have to use all of these, all of the screens? No. I saw my students early in the morning. Yeah, we had choir like at 7:15 in the morning. And, I've got a short little time before they had to go to their safety patrol duties and anything else they had to do. So I would customize and we would do little chunks at a time. Or if there was something that I noticed we need to go back in and work on, then I would pull it over for that choir time coming up. So I love that you can customize these. All right. Then I love that we always pull in a canon or a round. So just working on their vocal quality. And yeah, you could even use these if you wanted in programs. Yes, you can do that. But they're here mainly to use as a tool to help your students prepare. Um, I still used them anyway for programs also. And this one is great. So you can loop it if you want to. You can turn the highlight on and off. It's up to you. But this one is a beautiful one to use. That is absolutely beautiful. Sorry, I was getting kind of tickled because I was reading some of the comments you all were writing. So I'm glad you're going to be using the height screen from now on. It's too funny. All right. I love cannons. And yes, I noticed some of you were saying before some of the things that we could do are also great to use as calming activities at the end of class or however you want to use them. So this is another great one you could use for that purpose too. Then there is the sight reading for this song. There it is. You've got your 3 levels, whichever one you want to start with. At first, have them sing after you, however you want to use it. Can they figure out what the solfege is? Use your crow and hand signs, and you're good to go on that. All right. Jumping into the pronunciation page. Now, this one I absolutely loved. And I loved that it let me select, and I could keep going back to that same one if we didn't quite have it. I didn't have to find back where it was in the beginning of the song. So I can go to number one.
O raura be by.
That one was a tough one for me first when I was first working on this, and I still have to go in and practice it. So we could hear it again, we could hear it again, we could, we can go back over and over it. I'm not stuck with it, keeps going. I really like that. And then we can go to number two, we can go to number three, and then I'm going to click on the yellow arrow, and it continues with the rest of them. So this was a game changer for me because we could really take the time that we needed. And yes, you could send this as an assignment to your students so your kids could practice at home. You could have your own class of the choir students. And because remember, I just talked about that earlier today, and that you could have them, put this code into, where it says enter code in the student account, and they could be a choir class. Even those of you that have district created classes, you can still make classes, and your students can be in more than one, which was awesome. And you could send these to them. Now, are all the students going to do it? No, but you've always got those ones that are going to, those ones that are definitely choir leaders. And especially if they have a lot of fun with it, they're going to want to go in and they're going to want to sing along that and whatever they can do and have a good time with it. So keep in mind, it does have that arrow. All right, we're jumping on to number 8, practice techniques. This light came on. This one is a good one to remind your students the steps. So they could click on 1, then do 2, 3. And so you can go through these. And we could go through and I could say, okay, have we done the first one? Have we done the second one? We've not done this one yet. So let's go in. It's a great thing for me to also keep in mind all the different ways that I can help the students out, and then create their own technique is a fun one too. I would let my students sometimes give me ideas on how they think that this would help. And oh, yes, yes. I did say 2 classes if you have district generated. Yes. Yeah. All right. We're doing good here. We got it. Now, let's keep on going. So, we're heading down and we're doing a melody study. So, you've got the words right here. You have a draw tool. So you could, whatever you needed to do, have the students listen. They're singing it. You're not necessarily showing them music right now because we want them to think about, you know, what's the dynamics, what's the tempo, all of that. Yes, Crystal, I see you writing in there about yes, they can be in 2 classes. All right. They just, you create the class, sorry, and you get that class code, then your students can go into their student account. This is another reason why I like making a subclass with a student account so I can go in and play too. Put it in where it says enter a code and they'll be in too. All right. Yes, you can do that. Okay, we got to keep on going here. Draw whatever you want that you want them to work on. Have them really listen to what it is that you're asking. What do you hear? Is it a repeated sound? And then you can draw maybe a line for repeated. If it has steps, maybe like I don't know, a big line going up, skips, maybe a little, however you wanted to write it out, or simply writing in step, skip, R for repeat, whatever you want to do. So you can do this. You're just giving your students more ownership of the music. All right. Got to jump out. We are going into the lyrics. Now, yes, a lot of you are saying, but I want my choir to see the music. Absolutely, I agree with you. I had my students, I printed it out. I had it in their choir books because we always take notes. I want them used to writing, circling that rest, all of this. But I also found with some of my students, especially some of my special friends, that they felt more comfortable because reading music was just so difficult for them until they had really done a lot of practicing with it. They loved also seeing the lyrics because it made them feel more comfortable with the words. All right. But do you have to use this? Absolutely not. If you didn't want to, just go down to the bottom, click on the title, and you could jump to the choral score. You can easily do that. All right. Um, and we'll just do it now because it's right here. There it is. Now, I had the luxury of having a co teacher. And when my co-teacher was with me, she would be in one room and she'd have half, and we would split them up if we were working on parts. She could have up on her smart board if she was working with a part two kids. And I would have part one kids in the other music room. So we could be working on them. And then after we had our parts separate, then she would show both of them. I would show both of them, even though we still had them separate. So they were familiar with what the other group was going to do. And then when we pulled them back in, then they were stronger on their part. So you can go up to part one and you can do solo part. And then when you want to add part two, put it back in. However you want to use this, it's here for you. Yes, folks, you can change the key and you can change the tempo. Okay. In the full score, you do have that ability to do that. Yes, this is part of the Song Hub. Okay. If you need to jump ahead, way up the top right next to that Song Hub little click, you can go to next and you can advance it to where you needed to start, whatever it may be. So, and of course, you notice at the bottom that the music advances too. So, or it'll go back regardless, depending on the screen that you're in. So, and if you need to circle things, you can go to menu and do a draw tool and save it, and you're good to go on that. But you've got your full score. So I had the full score up on my smart board, but my kids also had it in their books because, again, I had a pencil velcroed in and they were writing in and making anything that we needed to mark, remind, hey, the dynamics right here is forte. Circle that for me, please. What does forte mean? It means loud. Would you please write loud above it? Because I was always working with them on their music terminology. All right, then going into what did we learn today? Okay, this one is great to use whenever you're going through the whole lesson. If you're using little bits and pieces like I did, I use the checklist and I put the checklist in here. So I could say, here's what we did, even though it wasn't all of that. Or sometimes I would put it in and say, okay, today we did this one. All right, next time you come, we're going to be working on this next one. So they would see that we had more that we needed to do on it. And then here's the octavo. And yes, you have unlimited printables. And then about the song, because the more you give your students ownership of the music, knowing the ins and outs, understanding it, it just strengthens their interest and their desire to want to be the best that they can when they're singing about it. So they could be looking at the information about the song. If you want to do kind of a flip the classroom type thing, you could actually send this out as an assignment to your students to let them know, hey, this song is coming up. You could put the lyrics in so they could listen to it. You could put about the song so they could learn about it even before they came to your choir class. And then since it's the New Guinea geography here, so you have got all this information that you can go ahead and give your students so they are really interested. Or maybe you just want to give them about the song and the geography and they don't get to hear the song until they come to choir. However you want to work it out. But I think this is really cool to give them those connections. All right. Now, jumping. And I forgot, we even have a quiz in here where they're making sure that they can tell you all of that terminology. If you don't want to use this quiz, remember you could actually make one in Quiz Builder. By the way, I don't know if you know this. I'm just giving you a little hint of a session tomorrow, but in Quiz Builder, you can now add your own pictures and audio. That's just a little snippet for tomorrow, just letting you know. All right. And then there's the performance evaluation. All right. I am just going to, you know what? I'm not going to use this one. I am going to go over to the lyrics and I'm just going to let you hear this because if you have not heard it before, it is so nice. Okay. All right. That was just too much fun. Now, all right. I hope you all had a great time today. I got so busy with you all, I kind of forgot to go through my objectives. We explored a ton of resources in the Choral Toolbox. And we also looked at how those resources can enhance and strengthen their musical knowledge. Again, we do so much when we're working with students, learning songs and music. And it's nice to just kind of test them every once in a while and get them to really realize how much they've learned, not just singing only the song. And then we've demonstrated a lot of resources that you can use for all grade levels. Yes. And just to end it up real fast with you all, I have to go to because I've got just a little bit left. We're going to jump into one of my other favorites because I got a lot of them. But I am going to end today with the lovely hoot, the hooty owl vowels. Yes, this is it. All right. We're going to start off with your speaking voice and then we'll switch it over to singing real quick. So, Hootie is going to say it and then you have to echo. And yes, you have to use your hands. So here we go.
Ha, ha, ha.
Ha, ha, ha.
Hoo, hoo, hoo.
Hoo, hoo, hoo. All right, and let's switch to your singing voice.
Ha, ha, ha.
Sorry, I can't sing it today. It's just not happening for me.
Ha, ha, ha.
All right. I do have to be careful because a lot of times I pick my shoulders up on that. So, because I noticed I started to do it. But if you want to put that in closer so it's not quite so easy to do their shoulders, I know some people do that. This one is so much fun, folks. Again, just remember choral toolboxes. It is right there in the dashboard. It is so much fun. I forgot where I was. I got to jump back to my, there it is. Jump back to my end. And I hope I have given you a whole lot of things. I am reading comments as fast as I can. I love how you all are telling each other how you are using these resources. And some of you are coming up with some really great ideas about, hey, I wish it did this. I wish it did that. Remember, you can always send us your comments and things like that at info@quavered.com because yes, we do want to listen to you, but you have to tell us what they are. So make sure you send that and have a wonderful time with Choral Resources. Oh my gosh, it is going to be awesome. Oh my goodness, hold it a second. I have 5 minutes. I had in my brain that it ended at 5 after, and I didn't wanted to make sure I didn't go over because you know me, I can chatter like a chipmunk. And I've got 5 more. Oh, folks, we are going back in because I got time. And we are going to take a look at, let's see, let me jump out of here. I'll tell you what, let me get out of that too. And I'm going to close that one. I got too many tabs open. Let me show you another one of my favorites, and that is Rocky Mountain. I love partner songs. All of my co-teachers, and I know there's a couple of them here right now, I love partner songs. I always had to include partner songs. So, let's see. Let's do very quickly. Let me just launch it. And I'm going to pull up the, let's see. Let's just do the choral score so you can see it. Rocky Mountain. Okay, here's another one.
Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain high. When you're on that Rocky Mountain, hang your head and cry. Do, 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 remember me. Do, 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 remember me. Sunny Valley, Sunny Valley, Sunny Valley low. When you're in that sunny valley, sing it soft and slow. Do, 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 remember me. Do, 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 remember me. Walking home on a windy afternoon. Hold on to my hat, gonna get me home real soon, real soon. Singing as I'm walking, la 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 la. Singing as I'm walking, la 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 la. Walking home on a rainy afternoon. Umbrellas up, gonna get me home real soon, real soon. Singing as I'm walking, la 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 la. Singing as I'm walking, la 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 la.
Okay, friends, take your card, pick it out.
Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain high. When you're on that Rocky Mountain, hang your head and cry. Singing as I do, don't remember me. Singing as I do, don't remember me. Sunny Valley, Sunny Valley, Sunny Valley low. When you're in that sunny valley, sing it soft and slow. Singing as I do, don't remember me. Singing as I do, don't remember me.
All right. Now, some of you were probably going, oh, hold it. I don't like how it switches so fast on the pages. I just jumped in to play this real quick. But remember, you go to options and you can have it open up early page turn. We could have done 1 beat, 2 beats, probably 1 beat would have been the best one. So looking at the first page right here, this is what it would have looked like.
Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain high. When you're on that Rocky Mountain, hang your head and
Now, see how that works? So if you wanted it 2 beats, 3 beats, 4 beats, you've got that option. Now, another thing with my students, again, this was for my students liked it when I had the measures on for lyrics. Whenever we were doing any orchestrations or putting any in unpitched, whatever the instruments were, my students liked it when I had measures on for the lyrics, and then we had, or for the voice part, and then we had the notes on for the instrument part. And so this is what you would get instead.
Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain high. When you're on that Rocky Mountain, hang your head and cry.
So see how that looks? So you've got a lot of options right there. The full score has a lot of things hidden in it, folks. So if you haven't really gone in and played around, make sure you do so. And again, you have your draw tools, you've got text, whatever you need to do. If you are wanting to say, hey, I want pianissimo right here, use the text, put that in there. Make it truly what you want. Again, I had my students also write that out in their music, but you've got that. Okay. Wow. I'm down to 30 seconds left. So thank you all so much for putting up with me today. My lights going off and just getting a little too excited about one of my favorite things in choral resources. And just wait. We've got more for you tomorrow. So have a wonderful time, everybody. Bye.
Woohoo! Sounded